The October sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across Maple Street as 7-year-old Emma Rodriguez stepped out of her best friend's house. She clutched Buddy's worn leather leash tightly in her small hand, the golden retriever's tail wagging enthusiastically beside her. The crisp autumn air carried the sweet scent of fallen leaves and someone's Saturday morning pancakes, making everything feel like a scene from her favorite storybook. "Be careful, Emma. Call when you get home," Mrs. Patterson called from the doorway, waving goodbye. Emma turned and waved back, her pink backpack bouncing against her shoulders. Inside were the friendship bracelets she and Sophie had spent all morning making, along with the special rock Sophie had found in her backyard, a smooth, gray stone with white stripes that Emma was convinced looked like tiger stripes. "Come on, Buddy," Emma whispered, tugging gently on the leash. The 3-year-old golden retriever looked up at her with warm brown eyes, his tongue lolling out in what Emma always thought was his smile. Buddy had been part of the Rodriguez family since he was a puppy, arriving on Emma's 5th birthday wrapped in a big red bow. He slept at the foot of her bed every night, walked her to the school bus every morning, and was, without question, her best friend in the whole world. Emma felt incredibly grown-up as she began the 3-block journey home. Her father, Officer Marcus Rodriguez, had walked this route with her at least 20 times over the past month, preparing her for this exact moment. "You're getting so big, Mija," he'd told her last week, his dark eyes shining with pride. "I think you're ready to walk Buddy by yourself." The memory made Emma stand a little taller. She was responsible now. She knew to look both ways before crossing streets, to stay on the sidewalk, to never talk to strangers, and to keep Buddy close. Her father had drilled these rules into her head with the patience of both a cop and a dad who loved his daughter more than anything in the world. The neighborhood was quiet in that perfect Saturday morning way. Mr. Jenkins was washing his vintage blue Mustang in his driveway, suds sliding down the hood. He waved at Emma with a soapy sponge. "Morning, Emma. Morning, Buddy." "Good morning, Mr. Jenkins," Emma called back cheerfully, and Buddy barked once in greeting. 2 houses down, the Martinez twins were drawing chalk pictures on their driveway, a rainbow on one side, what looked like a dinosaur on the other. They looked up and waved, their small hands covered in colored chalk dust. Emma waved back, feeling like she was the mayor of Maple Street, greeting all her constituents. She reached into her jacket pocket and felt the crisp $20 bill her dad had given her that morning. "For ice cream on your way back," he'd said, kissing the top of her head. "My brave girl deserves a treat." Emma had already decided on mint chocolate chip, her favorite, and maybe she'd get Buddy a plain vanilla cone. The ice cream shop was just past the corner store, only half a block away now. Buddy suddenly stopped to sniff a fire hydrant, his tail still wagging. Emma waited patiently, watching a blue jay hop from branch to branch in the oak tree overhead. The world felt safe and beautiful. This was her neighborhood, her street, her home. Nothing bad happened on Maple Street. It was the kind of place where people left their doors unlocked and kids rode bikes until the streetlights came on. Emma didn't know that just around the corner, her perfect morning was about to shatter. As they approached the corner store, Emma noticed the smell changing. Instead of autumn leaves and breakfast, there was something acrid in the air, cigarette smoke mixed with something sweet and artificial. She wrinkled her nose. Her dad had taught her that smell meant trouble. But the ice cream shop was right there, so close she could almost taste the mint chocolate chip. Buddy's ears perked up and his tail stopped wagging. The dog's body language shifted, something Emma had learned to read over the past 2 years. He sensed something she couldn't see yet. His muscles tensed slightly under his golden coat, and a low, almost inaudible rumble started in his chest. "It's okay, boy," Emma whispered, though her own heartbeat had quickened. Maybe they should just go home and skip the ice cream. But that felt silly. She was a big girl now. Dad trusted her to do this. As they rounded the corner, Emma saw them. 3 teenage boys leaned against the red brick wall of the corner store, clouds of vapor smoke hanging around their heads like ghosts. They looked older than the high school kids she saw at the bus stop, maybe 16 or 17. They wore baggy clothes and had hard expressions that made Emma's stomach feel funny, like when she was at the top of a roller coaster. The tallest one had dark hair and cold eyes that reminded Emma of the snake exhibit at the zoo, beautiful but dangerous. He was watching her, and when their eyes met, he smiled. But it wasn't a nice smile like Mr. Jenkins's or the Martinez twins. It was the kind of smile that made Emma want to turn around and run home as fast as her legs could carry her. Buddy's growl grew slightly louder. He moved closer to Emma's leg, protective and alert. "It's okay," Emma told herself, trying to remember what her dad always said. "Most people are good. Don't judge people by how they look." But her hands were shaking now as she gripped Buddy's leash tighter. She had two choices: turn around and look like a scared baby, or walk past them to get to the ice cream shop. Emma took a deep breath and kept walking. After all, what could possibly happen on a beautiful Saturday morning on Maple Street? She had no idea that in less than 3 minutes her scream would echo down the block, that Buddy would be lying on the concrete, or that her father was exactly 2 minutes and 17 seconds away. Emma's sneakers scuffed against the sidewalk as she tried to walk normally, tried to act like her heart wasn't hammering against her ribs. Just keep walking, she told herself. Don't look at them. Dad said if something feels wrong, trust your gut. But she was so close to the ice cream shop now, just 20 more feet past the corner store. The tallest boy pushed himself off the brick wall with a lazy movement, like a cat that had just spotted a mouse. His friends straightened up too, their conversation dying as they focused their attention on the little girl and her dog. "Well, well, well," the tall one drawled, his voice dripping with mock sweetness. "What do we have here?" Emma's grip on Buddy's leash tightened until her knuckles turned white. She kept her eyes down, watching the cracks in the sidewalk pass beneath her feet. 1 crack, 2 cracks, 3 cracks. Just count the cracks and keep walking. "Hey, little girl, I'm talking to you." The voice was closer now. Buddy's body went rigid, his hackles rising slightly along his back. The golden retriever positioned himself between Emma and the approaching teenager, his usually friendly demeanor replaced with protective alertness. A low, warning growl rumbled from his throat. "That's not very friendly," Tyler Jennings said, now directly in Emma's path. She could smell the sickly sweet vapor smoke on his clothes, see the scuff marks on his expensive sneakers. Up close, his eyes looked empty, like the windows of abandoned houses she sometimes saw from the car. Emma stopped walking. She had no choice. Tyler stood right in front of her, blocking the sidewalk. His 2 friends flanked him on either side, creating a semicircle that trapped Emma against the corner store's wall. "Excuse me," Emma stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. "I need to get past." Tyler tilted his head, pretending to think about it. I don't know. What's the magic word?" "Please," Emma said quickly, her eyes starting to burn with the threat of tears. She would not cry. Big girls didn't cry just because some mean boys were in the way. "Please what?" Tyler's friend snickered behind him. "Please let me pass," Emma said, her voice shaking now despite her best efforts. Tyler looked down at Buddy, who was still growling, his intelligent eyes fixed on the teenager's face. "Your dog's got an attitude problem. Doesn't he know how to be friendly?" "He's friendly," Emma said defensively, finding a small spark of courage in defending her best friend. "You're just scaring him." "Scaring him?" Tyler's voice rose with fake offense. "We're just standing here. Maybe you're the one teaching him to be a mean dog. My mom says bad owners make bad dogs." Emma's cheeks flushed. "I'm not a bad owner, Buddy's a good dog." "Then make him stop growling at us," Tyler challenged, crossing his arms. "Go ahead, show us what a good owner you are." Emma reached down and stroked Buddy's head, trying to calm him. "It's okay, Buddy, it's okay." But it wasn't okay. Nothing about this was okay. Where were all the adults? Why wasn't anyone walking by? The street that had felt so alive and friendly just minutes ago now seemed eerily deserted. Tyler's friend, a shorter boy with a baseball cap worn backwards, spoke up. "Yo, Tyler, maybe we should just—" "Shut up, Derek," Tyler snapped, never taking his eyes off Emma. "I'm having a conversation with this young lady about her ill-mannered pet." Buddy's growl intensified. The dog could sense Emma's fear, could smell it in the air, and every protective instinct in his 3-year-old body was firing. He was bred to be gentle, to retrieve ducks from ponds and play with children, but nature had also given him the instinct to protect his pack. And Emma was his pack. "Your mutt thinks he's tough, huh?" Tyler took a step closer. "Thinks he's a big scary guard dog." "Please," Emma's voice broke. "Please just let us go home. I won't tell anyone, I promise." "Won't tell anyone what?" Tyler's smile widened. "We're not doing anything wrong, just making conversation, though your dog really should learn some manners." The third boy, who had been silent until now, shifted uncomfortably. "Come on, man, she's just a kid. Let her go." "When I'm ready," Tyler shot back. Then to Emma, "You got any money? For being such a nuisance with your aggressive dog, maybe you should pay a fine." Emma thought about the $20 bill in her pocket, her ice cream money. "No," she lied, her voice trembling. Tyler's eyes narrowed. He didn't believe her. "I think you're lying. Little girls who walk around this neighborhood always have money. Rich little princess with her fancy purebred dog." Buddy barked once, sharp and loud. A warning, "Stay back." "Did your dog just bark at me?" Tyler's face darkened, his playful malice shifting into something genuinely angry. "Did that mutt just threaten me?" "No, he was just—" Emma was openly crying now, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Your dog needs to be taught a lesson about respect," Tyler said coldly. Emma saw his leg move before her brain could process what was happening. Tyler's foot swung back, his body coiling like a spring. Time seemed to slow down, each second stretching into an eternity. Emma saw the hate in Tyler's eyes, saw the expensive sneaker arcing through the air, saw Buddy's confused expression as he registered the incoming threat too late to dodge. "No," Emma screamed, her voice raw and desperate. "Buddy." The kick connected with a sickening thud, boot meeting ribs, the impact reverberating through the quiet morning air. Buddy's yelp of pain was unlike any sound Emma had ever heard her dog make. It was high-pitched, agonized, filled with betrayal and confusion. The golden retriever's legs buckled beneath him, and he collapsed onto the concrete sidewalk. Emma's scream echoed down Maple Street, shattering the peaceful Saturday morning into 1,000 irreparable pieces. Everything Emma knew about the world, that it was safe, that people were good, that nothing bad happened on her street, died in that moment. The perfect morning was over. Emma's knees hit the concrete so hard she'd find bruises there later, but she didn't feel the pain. She didn't feel anything except the terror coursing through her 7-year-old body as she reached for Buddy. Her hands found his soft golden fur, now trembling beneath her touch. "Buddy, Buddy, please." Her voice came out in broken sobs. "Please be okay, please be okay, please." The dog was whimpering, a sound that cut through Emma like broken glass. His brown eyes, usually so warm and happy, were wide with pain and confusion. He tried to stand, his legs shaking, but collapsed again with another pitiful whine. His breathing came in short, rapid gasps. Above her, Tyler and his friends were laughing. The sound was horrible, cruel, and empty, like hyenas circling wounded prey. "Did you see that?" Tyler howled, slapping his knee. "Thing went down like a sack of potatoes." Derek, the one in the baseball cap, laughed nervously, but it sounded forced. "Dude, that was crazy." "Crazy awesome," Tyler crowed. "Stupid mutt had it coming." Emma's hands moved frantically over Buddy's body, searching for blood, for broken bones, for anything she could fix. She didn't know what to do. Her father had taught her about stranger danger and looking both ways before crossing the street, but he'd never taught her what to do when someone hurt the thing she loved most in the world. You hurt him, Emma screamed up at Tyler, her face blotchy and red, snot running from her nose. You hurt my dog, why would you do that? Tyler looked down at her with those cold, snake-like eyes. He was being aggressive. I felt threatened. Isn't that what cops say? He laughed at his own joke. He wasn't aggressive. He was protecting me from you. Emma's voice cracked on the last word. The $20 bill had fallen from her pocket during her fall, and now it lay on the sidewalk, fluttering slightly in the breeze. Tyler noticed it, bent down and snatched it up. Look at that payment for damages, he said, pocketing the money. That aggressive dog of yours could have bitten me. This barely covers my emotional trauma. That's my ice cream money, Emma sobbed. Give it back. Finders keepers, Tyler shrugged. Maybe teach your dog some manners next time. Across the street, Mrs. Chen had been watering her flower boxes on her second-floor balcony. At 72 years old, her eyesight wasn't what it used to be, but her hearing was sharp as ever. When Emma's first scream pierced the air, Mrs. Chen's head had snapped up. What she saw made her blood run cold. The watering can slipped from her hands, water splashing across the balcony floor as she rushed inside. Her arthritic fingers fumbled with her phone, her heart pounding. She'd known Emma since the day Marcus and his wife brought her home from the hospital. She'd watched that little girl grow up, had given her cookies and lemonade on hot summer days, had seen her teach Buddy to shake hands in the front yard. Mrs. Chen's fingers found 911 first. 911, what's your emergency? There's a little girl, corner of Maple and 5th. Teenagers attacked her dog. She's crying, please send someone. Mrs. Chen's voice shook as she moved to her window, watching the scene unfold below. Ma'am, can you describe? But Mrs. Chen had already pulled up another number. Officer Marcus Rodriguez had given it to everyone in the neighborhood watch program 2 years ago. For emergencies, he'd said, if you ever need me directly. She'd never thought she'd use it. The phone rang once, twice. Back on the street, Emma cradled Buddy's head in her lap, her tears falling onto his fur. The dog's tail gave a weak wag, as if trying to reassure her that everything would be okay, even though he was clearly in pain. I'm sorry, Buddy, Emma whispered. I'm so sorry, I should have protected you, I should have. Should have stayed home, Tyler interrupted. Dumb kid walking around with a dog she can't control. The third boy, who hadn't laughed at all, finally spoke up. His name was Jason, and he was Tyler's cousin, forced into this friendship by family obligations. Tyler, man, we should go. This is messed up. Relax, Tyler waved him off. What's she gonna do? Tell her mommy and daddy will be long gone. But Tyler was wrong about that, so very wrong. Emma's vision blurred with tears as she tried to remember what her father had taught her about injured animals. Don't move them. Keep them calm. Call for help. But her phone was at home, charging on her nightstand. She was alone, 3 blocks from safety, with her best friend hurt and these horrible boys standing over them. Somebody help, Emma screamed toward the empty street. Please, somebody help us. Nobody's coming, princess, Tyler said, pulling out his vape pen and taking a long drag. It's just you and your broken dog. But someone was coming. Mrs. Chen had gotten through. Marcus, she said when Officer Rodriguez answered, her voice tight with urgency. It's Emma, corner store. 3 boys, they kicked Buddy. She's crying, she needs you now. On the other end of the line, there was a moment of complete silence. Then Mrs. Chen heard something that made her shiver, the sound of a father's worst nightmare crystallizing into terrible reality. I'm 2 minutes away, Marcus's voice came through, barely controlled. Stay on the line, don't hang up. Is she hurt? Is Emma hurt? I don't think so, Mrs. Chen said, pressing her face against the window. But Marcus, the dog, I think it's bad. Emma didn't know any of this was happening. She didn't know that Mrs. Chen was watching from above, didn't know that her father was already racing toward her, didn't know that backup was being dispatched. All she knew was that Buddy's breathing sounded wrong, that his whimpers were getting weaker, and that the three boys who destroyed her perfect morning were still standing there, laughing like they'd done something funny instead of something evil. Derek's laugh died first. He was looking down the street, his face paling. Tyler, is that?" The sound of a police siren cut through the air, distant but approaching fast. Very fast. Tyler's smirk finally faltered. Officer Marcus Rodriguez had been a cop for 12 years. He'd responded to armed robberies, domestic violence calls, drug busts, and high-speed chases. He'd been shot at twice, had faced down suspects with knives, and had talked a suicidal man off a bridge at 3 in the morning. He thought he knew what fear felt like. He'd been wrong. The radio crackled to life at exactly 10:47 a.m. All units, assault in progress, corner of Maple and 5th. Minor victim reported. Caller states teenage males involved. Animal cruelty reported. Marcus's hands were steady on the steering wheel as his brain processed the address. Maple and 5th. That was his neighborhood. That was. His cell phone rang, cutting through his thoughts. The caller ID showed Mrs. Chen's number. His stomach dropped like a stone. "Marcus," Mrs. Chen's voice was shaking. "It's Emma, corner store, 3 boys, they kicked Buddy. She's crying, she needs you now." The world tilted. Marcus's foot slammed down on the accelerator before his conscious mind caught up. The patrol car lurched forward, engine roaring. His hand hit the lights and sirens simultaneously, the wail cutting through the Saturday morning quiet. Marcus, his partner, Officer Sarah Chen, Mrs. Chen's daughter, grabbed the dashboard as the car swerved around a Honda. "What's happening?" Emma was all Marcus could get out. His throat felt like it was closing. "That call, it's Emma." Sarah's eyes widened. She grabbed the radio. "Dispatch, Unit 23 responding to Maple and 5th. We're 1076, 2 minutes out. Officer Rodriguez's daughter is the victim, requesting immediate backup and medical." "Copy that, Unit 23. Units 15 and 18 are rerouting. ETA 4 minutes. 4 minutes? They'd be there in 2. Marcus would make sure of it. His mind was fragmenting, splitting between 12 years of training and 7 years of being a father. The cop in him knew the procedure. Assess the scene, ensure safety, establish control, gather evidence, maintain professional distance. The father in him wanted to drive this car through the corner store's wall and tear apart anyone who'd made his daughter cry. "Talk to me, Marcus," Sarah said, her voice calm but firm. She'd been his partner for 3 years, she knew him. "What do we know?" 3 teenagers, they kicked Buddy. His voice cracked on his dog's name. "She's alone, she's crying." "Is Emma hurt?" "I don't know." Those 3 words nearly broke him. Mrs. Chen didn't say, "I didn't ask God, Sarah. I didn't ask if she was hurt." "Focus," Sarah commanded. "Breathe, you're a cop first. When we get there, you handle this by the book. You understand me." Marcus's jaw clenched. "They hurt my daughter." "Which is exactly why you need to be a cop right now, not a father. You go in there as a father, you could jeopardize the whole case. These kids could walk. Is that what you want?" The car screamed around another corner, tires squealing. A red light loomed ahead. Marcus didn't even slow down, just laid on the horn and blew through the intersection. Brakes screeched. Someone honked. He didn't care. "How long have I known Emma?" Sarah continued, her tactical voice softening slightly. "Since she was 3 years old. She's like my niece, Marcus. I want these punks locked up as much as you do, but we do this right." Marcus's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Images flashed through his mind, rapid fire and torturous. Emma at 2, taking her first steps. Emma at 4, crying when she scraped her knee. Emma at 5, the day they brought Buddy home, her face lighting up with pure joy. Emma this morning, so proud and grown up, insisting she could walk by herself. He'd let her go, he'd said yes. This was his fault. 1 minute, Sarah said, watching the GPS. "Get your head right, Marcus, I mean it. You're Officer Rodriguez when we arrive, not Dad. Officer Rodriguez." The corner store came into view. Marcus could see a small crowd gathering across the street. His eyes scanned frantically for Emma, and then he saw her, small, crumpled on the sidewalk, her pink backpack askew, cradling something golden in her lap. "Buddy!" 3 teenage boys stood nearby. The tall one was laughing. Something primal and ancient roared to life in Marcus's chest. Every cell in his body screamed at him to forget the badge, forget procedure, forget everything except making those boys pay for what they'd done. His hand moved toward his door handle before the car even stopped. Sarah grabbed his arm, her grip surprisingly strong. "Marcus Antonio Rodriguez," she said, using his full name like his mother used to when he was in trouble. "You are a police officer. You took an oath. Those boys are about to learn what happens when you mess with a cop's family, but they're going to learn it the legal way. Copy." Marcus's breath came in short, sharp bursts. His heart hammered against his ribs. 12 years of training battled against 7 years of unconditional love. Professional distance versus primal protection. The car screeched to a halt. Through the windshield, Marcus saw Emma look up. Their eyes met across 20 feet of sidewalk. His little girl's face was streaked with tears, her nose running, her eyes red and swollen. She looked terrified and small and hurt, and every fatherly instinct he possessed howled at him to run to her, to scoop her up, to promise her that everything would be okay. But first, he had to make sure it would be. Marcus took one deep breath, then another. He felt Sarah watching him, felt her silent support, felt the weight of his badge and his gun and his responsibility. "I'm good," he said, though his voice shook. "I'm good." "Liar," Sarah said, "but you'll do." They opened their doors in unison. Officer Marcus Rodriguez stepped out of the patrol car, his face a mask of professional composure that cost him everything to maintain. The father in him was screaming. The cop in him was in control. "Barely." The tall boy's laughter died in his throat as he saw the uniform, saw the badge, saw the man approaching with measured, deadly calm steps. And then Emma's broken voice cut through everything. "Daddy." Marcus's mask cracked, just for a second before he forced it back into place. This was going to be the longest 2 minutes of his life. Marcus's boots hit the pavement with purpose, each step measured and controlled. His right hand rested on his belt near his radio but also near his weapon, a habit born from years of training. His eyes swept the scene with practiced efficiency. 3 male suspects, one approximately 62, the other 2 shorter. No visible weapons. Victim on ground. Crowd gathering. Exit routes mapped. But beneath that professional assessment, a father's heart was shattering. "Daddy?" Emma's voice broke on the word, and Marcus saw her try to stand, try to run to him, but she wouldn't leave Buddy. She stayed on her knees, one hand on her dog, the other reaching toward her father. "Emma, baby, stay right there," Marcus called out, his voice steady despite the earthquake happening inside his chest. "I'm coming to you." Tyler Jennings stood frozen, his vape pen still in his hand. The realization was dawning on his face like a slow-motion car crash. The little girl, the cop, the uniform. His eyes darted between Marcus's badge and Emma's tear-stained face, and the color drained from his cheeks. "Oh, Derek started. "Shut up," Tyler hissed, but his earlier bravado had evaporated like the vapor smoke still hanging in the air. Sarah moved to flank the suspects, her hand on her own radio. "Gentlemen, I need you to stay exactly where you are. Do not move. Do not reach for anything. Keep your hands where I can see them." Marcus reached Emma and dropped to one knee beside her, his trained eyes immediately assessing both his daughter and the dog. Emma wasn't bleeding. No visible injuries. But her hands were scraped from hitting the concrete, and the look in her eyes, God, that look of betrayal and fear and pain, that would haunt him forever. "Are you hurt, Mija?" His voice was gentle now, the father breaking through the officer's composure. "Did they touch you?" "No, but Daddy, Buddy. He kicked Buddy really hard and he won't get up and he's breathing funny, and I didn't know what to do and I was so scared." The words tumbled out in a rush between sobs. Marcus's jaw clenched so hard he thought his teeth might crack. He gently touched Buddy's side and the dog whimpered. Definitely bruised, possibly broken ribs. Shallow breathing. The golden retriever's tail gave a weak thump when he recognized Marcus's touch, trying even in pain to be the good boy he'd always been. "He's going to be okay," Marcus promised, though he wasn't sure if he was talking to Emma or himself. "We're going to get him to Dr. Morrison right now." He looked up at Sarah. "Call animal control and tell them to send their vet unit. Tell them officer's pet priority response." "Copy that," Sarah said, already on her radio. Marcus stood slowly, his hand briefly touching Emma's head, stroking her hair. "Stay with Buddy, baby. I'll be right back." He turned toward the three boys, and the transformation was complete. The gentle father disappeared. What stood there now was every inch a police officer, and one who had just watched his daughter's childhood innocence get kicked into the gutter along with her dog. He walked toward them with deliberate steps. Tyler tried to stand taller, tried to find some of his earlier swagger, but it was like watching a house of cards trying to reassemble itself in a hurricane. "You boys want to tell me what happened here?" Marcus's voice was quiet, dangerously quiet. We were just, the dog was aggressive, man," Tyler stammered. "It was like self-defense or whatever." Marcus stopped 3 feet away from Tyler, close enough that the teenager had to look up to meet his eyes. That 7-year-old girl and her family pet were aggressive toward 3 teenage boys. The dog was growling. "Because you were threatening a child," Marcus cut him off. "You blocked her path. You intimidated her. You stole her money." His eyes flicked to the $20 bill visible in Tyler's pocket. "And then you assaulted her dog in front of her." "I didn't steal nothing." "Empty your pockets now." Tyler's hands shook as he pulled out the crumpled $20 bill. Marcus took it, holding it up. "My daughter's ice cream money. I gave this to her this morning." The weight of that statement hung in the air. Tyler's friends both took a step back, as if distance might somehow save them from the consequences bearing down. Mrs. Chen appeared at the edge of the scene, still on her phone. "Officer Rodriguez, I saw everything from my window. I recorded it on my phone, the whole thing." Marcus nodded to her, grateful. "Mrs. Chen, please stay right there. We'll need your statement." More sirens approached. Backup was arriving. An ambulance for Buddy, the wheels of justice beginning to turn. Marcus pulled out his handcuffs, the metal catching the sunlight. "Tyler Jennings," he read the name off the teenager's school ID visible in his jacket pocket. "You have the right to remain silent." "Wait, you can't arrest me. I'm 17, I'm a minor." "You're being charged as a minor," Marcus said, moving behind Tyler and pulling his arms back. The handcuffs clicked into place with a sound that felt like punctuation. "Doesn't mean you're not being charged. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." "This is *T. It was just a dog." Marcus leaned in close, his voice dropping to a whisper only Tyler could hear. "That just a dog is my daughter's best friend. That little girl you terrorized is my whole world. And you're about to learn that there are consequences for cruelty, especially when a cop watches you traumatize his child." He continued the Miranda rights, his voice level and professional, while inside he imagined 1,000 different scenarios where he wasn't wearing a badge. Jason and Derek were also cuffed by arriving officers. The corner store owner emerged with his security footage. Witnesses were being organized for statements. Everything was happening by the book, exactly as it should. But when Marcus looked back at Emma, still on the ground with Buddy, still crying, still 7 years old and broken by the cruelty of strangers, he felt something crack inside his chest. He'd kept his oath, he'd done his job. But watching your daughter learn that the world could be cruel, there was no training for that. The corner of Maple and Fifth had transformed into a controlled chaos of flashing lights and official activity. 2 more patrol cars had arrived, along with an animal control unit equipped with veterinary services. Neighbors lined the sidewalks, some recording on their phones, others simply watching in shock. The quiet Saturday morning had become a crime scene. Tyler sat in the back of Marcus's patrol car, his handcuffed wrists awkward behind him, his earlier arrogance completely evaporated. Through the window, he watched as a veterinary technician carefully examined the golden retriever, watched as the little girl, the cop's daughter, clung to her father's leg, watched as his entire future collapsed around him. "I'm so screwed," he muttered. In the front seat, Officer Sarah Chen was documenting everything on her tablet. She glanced back at him through the metal partition. "You're just figuring that out now." Derek and Jason sat in separate patrol cars, both already talking, both eager to distance themselves from Tyler's actions. Jason was crying, telling Officer Martinez everything. Derek was stone-faced but cooperating, giving detailed descriptions of exactly what had happened and who had done what. The veterinary technician, a woman named Dr. Lisa Patel, knelt beside Buddy with practiced gentleness. She'd been with animal control for 8 years and had seen too many cases of animal cruelty, but something about this one, the little girl's face, the father's barely controlled rage, the sheer senselessness of it, made her extra careful. "Hey there, beautiful boy," she murmured to Buddy, her hands expertly palpating his ribs. The dog whimpered but didn't snap or growl. Even in pain, he remained gentle. "You're such a good dog." "Yes, you are." Emma stood pressed against her father's side, Marcus's arm wrapped protectively around her shoulders. She watched Dr. Patel with wide, fearful eyes. "Is he going to die?" Dr. Patel looked up with a kind smile. "No, sweetheart, he's not going to die. He's hurt and he's scared, but he's going to be okay, I promise." "How bad?" Marcus asked, his professional voice back in place, though his hand trembled slightly where it rested on Emma's shoulder. 2, possibly 3 cracked ribs, Dr. Patel said, continuing her examination. "Significant bruising. No internal bleeding that I can detect, but I want to get him to the clinic for x-rays to be certain. He'll need pain medication, rest, and monitoring for the next few weeks." She looked up at Marcus, her eyes hardening. This was a deliberate, forceful kick. There's no question this was intentional assault on an animal. Marcus nodded. More evidence, more nails in Tyler's coffin. Mrs. Chen had come down from her apartment, her phone clutched in her weathered hands. She showed the video to Sarah, clear footage of Tyler blocking Emma's path, of the confrontation, of the kick, of Emma's scream. The timestamp, the audio, everything. "I got it all," Mrs. Chen said, her voice shaking with emotion. "That poor baby, that poor dog." The corner store owner, Mr. Patel, Dr. Patel's uncle, as it turned out, emerged with a USB drive. "Security cameras," he said, handing it to Marcus. 4 angles, high definition. I saw everything from inside but couldn't get out fast enough." His accent was thick with emotion. "That boy, he is evil, pure evil. To hurt an animal, to scare a child, there is special place in hell." Marcus took the USB drive, evidence bag already prepared. "Thank you, Mr. Patel. This will help ensure justice is served." More neighbors approached, offering statements. The Martinez twins' mother had seen the initial confrontation. Mr. Jenkins had heard the scream and seen the boys laughing afterward. A jogger had passed by right after the kick and had stopped to call 911. Everyone wanted to help. Everyone was horrified. Officer Martinez approached Marcus. "Rodriguez, the parents are en route. Tyler's mom and stepdad, both the other boys' parents. ETA 5 minutes. He paused. "You want me to handle the parent notifications?" Marcus shook his head. "No, I'll do it. They need to see what their son did." A sleek black SUV pulled up, and Dr. Morrison himself, the Rodriguez family's personal veterinarian, jumped out, his medical bag in hand. Sarah had called in a favor. Dr. Morrison had been treating Buddy since he was a puppy, had given Emma her first lesson in pet care, had sent birthday cards with dog treats every year. "Let me see him," Dr. Morrison said, kneeling beside Dr. Patel. The two veterinarians conferred in low tones, their hands gentle on Buddy's body. After a thorough examination, Dr. Morrison stood and faced Marcus and Emma. "He's going to be fine, Emma," he said directly to the little girl, respecting her enough to give her the truth straight. "He's hurt, and it's going to take time to heal, but your Buddy is tough. In a few weeks, he'll be chasing squirrels again." Emma's face crumpled with relief, and she finally let herself cry. Not scared crying this time, but the release of tension she'd been holding since the moment Tyler's boot had connected with Buddy's ribs. Marcus knelt down, pulling Emma into a tight hug. For just a moment he let himself be just Dad, not Officer Rodriguez. He breathed in the strawberry scent of her shampoo, felt her small body shaking with sobs, and promised himself that he would make this right. "I'm sorry, Daddy," Emma whispered against his shoulder. "I should have run away. I should have been smarter." "No," Marcus said firmly, pulling back to look her in the eyes. "No, Mija, you did nothing wrong, do you hear me? Nothing. Those boys are responsible for their choices, not you, never you." A car screeched to a halt. Tyler's mother, her face pale with shock as she saw her son in handcuffs in the back of a police car. She stumbled out, her hand over her mouth. Marcus gently released Emma, telling her to stay with Dr. Morrison. Then he stood, squaring his shoulders, and walked toward the approaching parent. It was time for Tyler's family to understand exactly what their son had done. Behind him, Dr. Patel and Dr. Morrison carefully loaded Buddy onto a stretcher, the dog's tail giving a weak wag as Emma held his paw. Justice was unfolding, piece by piece, exactly as it should. But for Marcus, looking at his daughter's traumatized face, no amount of justice would erase what she'd experienced today. Some scars ran deeper than the law could reach. By noon, the story had spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. By 2 p.m., it was on the local news. By evening, it had gone viral across Chicago. Officer's daughter and beloved pet attacked. Teen arrested in shocking act of cruelty. The headline blazed across screens throughout the city, accompanied by Ring doorbell footage, Mrs. Chen's video, and the corner store's security camera stills. The image of 7-year-old Emma crying over her injured dog while teenage boys laughed became the focal point of public outrage. Tyler's mugshot appeared on every local news station. 17 years old, cold eyes staring at the camera with what could only be described as defiance. The comments sections exploded with thousands of people demanding justice, calling for maximum penalties, sharing their own stories of animal cruelty and childhood trauma. At the Rodriguez home, the doorbell hadn't stopped ringing since Marcus and Emma returned from the veterinary hospital. Buddy was resting in the living room, heavily medicated, his ribs wrapped, sleeping on Emma's favorite blanket. Emma sat beside him, one hand gently stroking his head, refusing to leave his side. The first to arrive had been Sophie's family, the Pattersons, carrying a casserole and a giant stuffed dog for Emma. Then came the Martinez family with flowers and homemade cookies. Mr. Jenkins brought a card signed by half the neighborhood and a gift certificate to the ice cream shop. Mrs. Chen arrived with soup, tears streaming down her face as she hugged Emma tight. "You're so brave, my sweet girl," Mrs. Chen whispered. "So very brave." The gifts kept coming. Dog toys and treats for Buddy, books and coloring sets for Emma, gift cards for restaurants so Marcus and his wife, Diana, wouldn't have to cook. The dining room table overflowed with flowers, cards, and tokens of support. Diana Rodriguez, who had been at her sister's house when everything happened, hadn't stopped crying since Marcus called her. She sat on the floor beside Emma, one arm around her daughter, the other hand resting on Buddy's sleeping form. "I should have been there," she kept saying. "I should have been with her." "You couldn't have known," Marcus said, though guilt ate at him too. He'd been the one to say Emma could walk alone. He'd been the one who thought 3 blocks in their safe neighborhood would be fine. The local news van pulled up outside around 4 p.m. Marcus went out to speak with them, his uniform pressed, his badge gleaming, his face a careful mask of professional composure. Reporter Jennifer Walsh, a veteran journalist known for her advocacy work, approached with her cameraman. "Officer Rodriguez, how is Emma? How is Buddy?" "They're both going to recover physically," Marcus said, choosing his words carefully. "Emotionally, that's going to take time. My daughter learned today that the world isn't always safe, that people can be cruel for no reason. That's a hard lesson for a 7-year-old. Can you tell us what happened?" Marcus recounted the facts, just the facts, his training keeping his emotions in check. But when Jennifer asked, "What do you want people to know about this incident?" something shifted in his expression. "I want people to understand that animal cruelty is not a minor offense. It's not boys being boys or just a dog. Studies show that people who abuse animals often escalate to violence against humans. Today it was my daughter's dog. Tomorrow it could be someone's child." He paused. "I also want the community to know that Emma is incredibly brave. She stayed with Buddy even when she was terrified. She protected him even after he was hurt. That's the kind of courage we should be celebrating." The interview aired on the 6 p.m. news. By 7 p.m., it had been shared 10,000 times. At the juvenile detention center, Tyler sat in a holding cell, still in shock. His mother had come, had cried, had screamed at him. His stepfather had been silent, just staring at Tyler with disgust before walking out. The public defender assigned to his case had been blunt. "You're looking at felony animal cruelty charges, assault on a minor, and theft. The evidence is overwhelming. The victim's father is a respected police officer. The video has gone viral. You need to understand how serious this is." Tyler's 2 friends had already taken plea deals, agreeing to testify against him in exchange for reduced charges. Jason's statement painted Tyler as the instigator, the aggressor, the one who kicked the dog. Derek's statement corroborated everything. Even Tyler's own social media history was being examined. Posts bragging about fights, videos of him harassing homeless people, evidence of a pattern of cruelty. Meanwhile, the community organized. A GoFundMe appeared for Buddy's medical expenses, though Dr. Morrison had already said he wouldn't charge the Rodriguez family a cent. The money raised, over $15,000 in the first day, would be donated to the local animal shelter in Buddy's name. The Chicago Pet Alliance announced they were proposing Buddy's Law, legislation to increase penalties for animal cruelty, especially in front of minors. State Representative Maria Gonzalez, who represented their district, pledged to sponsor the bill. Local businesses joined in. The ice cream shop announced free ice cream for Emma for life. The pet store delivered a year's supply of dog food and treats. A local artist painted a portrait of Buddy from photos, presenting it to the family with tears in his eyes. Emma's school sent a card signed by her entire class and all the teachers. Her teacher, Mrs. Brennan, had apparently used the incident as a teaching moment about kindness, empathy, and standing up against cruelty. That evening, as the sun set over Maple Street, neighbors organized a candlelight vigil. Nearly 200 people gathered on the corner where it had happened, holding candles, sharing stories, supporting the Rodriguez family. Marcus stood with Diana and Emma, watching his community come together. Emma held a photo of Buddy, and when asked to speak, she stepped forward with trembling hands. "Buddy is my best friend," she said in a small voice that somehow carried through the crowd. "He didn't deserve what happened. No animal does. Thank you for loving him too." There wasn't a dry eye on the street. Tyler, in his cell, watched the news coverage of the vigil. For the first time, something like remorse flickered across his face. But it was too late. The wheels of justice were already turning, and the community had made its position clear. Cruelty would not be tolerated, not in their neighborhood, not to their children, not to their pets. Maple Street had been shaken, but it was standing together, stronger than before. 3 months had passed since that October morning, and Maple Street looked different now. Not physically. The same houses stood in the same places, the same trees lined the sidewalks, but there was a change in the air, an awareness that hadn't existed before. Security cameras adorned every corner. The neighborhood watch had tripled in size. Parents walked their children to school again, even the older ones. The community had learned that safety wasn't something to take for granted. Emma stood at her bedroom window on a cold January morning, watching snow fall softly on the street below. Buddy lay on his dog bed behind her, fully healed now, though he still favored his left side when he first woke up. The vet said that would fade with time. "You ready, Mija?" Marcus called from downstairs. Emma took a deep breath. Today was the day. Her first solo walk with Buddy since the incident. Her therapist, Dr. Sarah Kim, had been working with her twice a week. At first, Emma had nightmares every night, Tyler's face, the sound of the kick, Buddy's yelp echoing in her dreams. She'd wake up screaming, and her parents would find her in Buddy's bed, arms wrapped around the dog, both of them trembling. But slowly, week by week, the nightmares came less frequently. Dr. Kim taught her breathing exercises, gave her tools to manage her anxiety, helped her understand that what happened wasn't her fault. That bad people make bad choices, and she couldn't have prevented it. Emma pulled on her pink winter coat, a new one since she couldn't look at the old one without remembering, and headed downstairs. Buddy followed, his tail wagging, eager for his walk. The dog had recovered faster than Emma, his resilience a constant source of amazement to the veterinarians. Marcus waited by the door, trying to look casual but unable to hide the concern in his eyes. "You don't have to do this today if you're not ready." "I'm ready," Emma said, and she meant it, mostly. Diana handed her a new leash, bright blue instead of brown, and kissed her forehead. "We'll be watching from the window. You've got your phone." Emma patted her pocket where the new phone Marcus had bought her rested. Direct line to both parents, GPS tracking enabled, emergency services on speed dial. "And remember," Marcus added, kneeling to her level, "you see anything that makes you uncomfortable, anything at all, you turn around and come straight home. No ice cream shop today, just to the corner and back. Okay?" "Okay, Daddy." But Emma had other ideas. She stepped outside into the crisp winter air, Buddy at her side. The dog stayed close, more protective now than he'd been before. Something had changed in him too, a wariness in his eyes when strangers approached, a quickness to position himself between Emma and potential threats. They walked slowly down the sidewalk. Mr. Jenkins was outside, clearing snow from his driveway. He waved. "Looking good, Emma. You too, Buddy." Emma waved back, managing a smile. The Martinez twins were building a snowman. They called out greetings. Their mother watched from the porch, giving Emma a thumbs up. Every step felt like a victory. When Emma reached the corner she stopped. The store looked the same. A new no loitering sign hung by the door, and a security camera blinked with a red light. Mr. Patel had installed 3 more after the incident. Emma stared at the spot where it had happened, where she'd fallen, where Buddy had bled, where her childhood had cracked open. "It's just a sidewalk," she whispered to herself, repeating Dr. Kim's words. "It's just concrete, it can't hurt me." Buddy sat beside her, leaning against her leg. Emma made a decision. Instead of turning back, she walked past the corner store. Buddy hesitated but followed. They continued 1 more block to the ice cream shop. The owner, Mrs. Rodriguez, no relation, looked up when the bell chimed. Her face broke into a warm smile. "Emma and Buddy, what a wonderful surprise." "Can I have mint chocolate chip, please?" Emma asked, her voice stronger than she expected. "And vanilla for Buddy." "Coming right up, sweetheart." Emma pulled out the $20 bill her father had replaced, the same amount Tyler had stolen. She placed it on the counter with pride. 15 minutes later, Marcus's phone rang. His heart stopped when he saw it was Emma. "Mija, what's wrong? Where are you?" "I'm at the ice cream shop, Daddy." Emma's voice came through, calm and clear. "I walked past the corner. I'm okay. I'm eating mint chocolate chip." Marcus closed his eyes, relief and pride flooding through him in equal measure. "I'll be right there." "You don't have to," Emma said, "but you can if you want. I'm not scared anymore." When Marcus arrived, he couldn't help himself. He found Emma sitting at a small table, Buddy beside her licking the last of his vanilla cone. His daughter looked up at him with eyes that had seen darkness but had chosen to find light anyway. "I'm proud of you," Marcus said, sitting across from her. "I'm proud of me too," Emma replied. That same afternoon, across town, Tyler Jennings sat in a small room at the Chicago Animal Welfare Center, a golden retriever therapy dog named Max sitting patiently while Tyler brushed his coat. It was his 87th hour of court-ordered community service. He had 113 more to go. The judge had been clear. Felony animal cruelty, 6 months in juvenile detention, suspended, 2 years probation, mandatory counseling, 200 hours of community service at an animal shelter, and a permanent record that would follow him to college applications and job interviews. Tyler's life had imploded. His friends had abandoned him. His stepfather barely spoke to him. His college football dreams had evaporated. The viral video followed him everywhere, screenshots, memes, harassment. He'd changed schools, but everyone knew. At first he'd been angry, defensive. It was just a dog. Everyone was overreacting. But something had shifted during his time at the shelter. Seeing the abused animals arrive, beaten, starved, terrified, seeing their scars, both physical and emotional, seeing how long it took them to trust again. Seeing himself in the people who had hurt them. Max, the therapy dog, had been rescued from a dog-fighting ring. Someone had kicked him so hard they'd broken his jaw. Yet here he sat, patient and gentle, allowing Tyler to touch him despite everything he'd endured. "Why do you trust me?" Tyler whispered to Max. "After what people did to you, after what I did." Max just wagged his tail. Tyler's therapist, Dr. Marcus Chen, Officer Chen's cousin, ironically, had explained it. Dogs forgive. It's what they do, but forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. You have to earn trust back. From the community, from yourself. Tyler pulled out a worn piece of paper, a letter he'd written and rewritten 17 times, an apology to Emma Rodriguez. He hadn't sent it yet. His lawyer said it could be seen as admission of guilt beyond what he'd already pled to. But Tyler didn't care about legal strategy anymore. He cared about the look on that little girl's face in the video, the sound of her scream, the fact that he'd done that. He'd been that person. "I'm going to send it," he told Max. "She doesn't have to forgive me, she probably shouldn't, but she deserves to know I'm sorry, really sorry." Max licked his hand. 6 months after the incident, Officer Marcus Rodriguez stood before the Chicago City Council, Emma beside him, Buddy at her feet wearing a special service vest Dr. Morrison had arranged. Buddy's law was being voted on today. Marcus spoke about animal cruelty statistics, about the link between animal abuse and domestic violence, about protecting both animals and the children who love them. He spoke as a police officer who'd seen too much violence, and as a father who'd watched his daughter's innocence shatter. Then Emma spoke, her voice small but clear. "Buddy taught me about love. He taught me about loyalty. When someone hurt him, it hurt me too. Animals can't protect themselves. We have to protect them. Please pass this law for Buddy, for all the buddies." The council voted unanimously in favor. That evening, Maple Street threw a celebration. The entire neighborhood gathered in the Rodriguez backyard, the same community that had rallied around them, that had refused to let fear win. Emma sat on the grass, surrounded by friends, Buddy's head in her lap. The dog was older now, a bit slower, but his eyes were bright and his tail never stopped wagging. Marcus watched his daughter laugh, really laugh for the first time in months. Diana squeezed his hand. "She's going to be okay," Diana whispered. "She's going to be better than okay," Marcus replied. "She's going to be strong." Emma looked up at that moment, catching her father's eye. She smiled, a real smile full of life and hope and resilience. The little girl who'd been kicked down that October morning had gotten back up, and she'd brought her whole community with her. Maple Street was safe again. Not because nothing bad had happened, but because they'd faced something bad and refused to let it break them. Emma Rodriguez was 8 years old now. She'd survived something terrible. She'd found her voice. She'd changed laws. She'd become an advocate. And she was just getting started. Buddy barked once, as if in agreement, and Emma laughed, the sound carrying through the winter evening like a promise that spring would come again. It always did. The end.